Hello, everyone. If you are a first-time home buyer, you probably have many questions, and I hope that I am able to answer them. Being a first-time home buyer is very exciting. It's one of the biggest purchases that you will ever make in your life. So if you entrust me to find you a home and get you into a home, I'm Brenda Bagwell, and I hope I can be a realtor. But I just want to make you informed before I become your realtor of some things that you do need to know when you are first time home buying. Budgeting. So you want to determine your total budget, including the down payment, the monthly mortgage payments, the other expenses like taxes, insurance. Usually that all gets wrapped up into one payment. You can purchase them separately, but it's a lot easier if they're just in one payment sometimes. So it's totally up to you how you want to handle that. And you want to know how much you can afford. So that's when a good lender has your back, knows how much you can afford, so you can make your decision on how much house you want. So a lot of it depends on the credit score. So check and improve your credit score. Higher credit score can get you a better mortgage rate because it does lower the rate a little bit if you have a better credit score. The mortgage pre-approval. Get pre-approved for a mortgage. So understanding and borrowing capacity, it demonstrates to the seller that you're serious, that you really want to buy a house. And a lot of sellers do not want you in their house unless you are pre-approved. So that just kind of makes sense. Closing cost. You're going to want to plan for your closing cost. Closing costs, which range from 2 to 5% of the loan amount usually. Closing costs can entail like several different factors. We will go over that and you'll be able to see what your closing cost will be, or at least approximately. The loan options. So you research different mortgage options. Fixed rate, adjustable rate mortgages. There are FHA loans. There are VA loans. So find the best fit for you and your financial situation. You want to think about your debt to income ratio. Understanding your debt to income ratio and how that affects your monthly mortgage eligibility. You don't want to be house poor. You want to have some money for other things that come up. So another thing you want to consider is location. Research the neighborhoods. For safety, for their school system, for the commute times, for the amenities. If you want to live in a place where there's a lot of parks, you want to get closer to a lot of parks, we can get you into a place like that. So, your real estate agent. Find a trustworthy real estate agent, okay? That'll guide you through the entire process. That is our job. Our job is to help you and to guide you through the entire process and negotiate on your behalf when you become our client. That's what we do. So, after you find a house and say you are pre-approved, you want to put say a bid, maybe it's a bid job, or at least the seller agrees that they want to sell to you with your terms. Agree on a house. Then you want to get a home inspection after you are approved to get into the house. This is always a good idea for the home inspections, immediate potential issues that come up with a property, you're going to want to know that in advance. And with a good home inspector, they will give you a breakdown of everything from the top of the roof down to the bottom of the basement. That's what a good home inspector does, and he tells you what's wrong, how to fix things, and so you can get moved into your house more quickly. The market conditions. Understand whether it's a buyer's or seller's market and in your desired area. Some areas right now, most areas right now are a seller's market. So the seller's market means that there are more buyers than there are houses for sale. So that way the sellers can, kind of pick and choose who they want to buy their house at this point. That's kind of basically what that means, within reason. So the long-term needs. So consider long-term and whether the home will meet them. So if you're planning on starting a family, you probably want at least a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom house, depending on your situation. Look for HOA fees. Now, this is homeowner association fees. A lot of these can be in the HOA fees. You have to play by their rules when buying and in the community with the HOA. All of them differ, so you are going to have to look at the guidelines on each particular homeowners association, if they have one, if you're in one of those neighborhoods. So another thing you're going to want to look at is resale value. So think about the home's resale value. And what it might look like for, future considerations. So if you're just starting out, you might want a smaller house and then buy a bigger house, say 5 or 6 years down the road, which a lot of people do that, and that is a very smart way to go. You're going to want to set aside an emergency fund. So things do come up. Unexpected repairs and maintenance costs do come up. So you are going to want to set aside a little bit of money for that, just in case something like that does come up. Homeowners insurance. So shop around for your homeowners insurance. They're not all the same, and they're not all the same price. So if I like to have at least 3 that I can compare to. It gives me a good range of what they cover, how much they are, and overall the feel of everything. So utilities and maintenance. So budget for utilities and ongoing maintenance cost. When you own a home, you are going to have utilities, maintenance cost, but that's not going to be all the time. So you kind of set that aside a little bit and just say, well, if the doorknob breaks, if a door falls off its hinges, you've got the money to cover that. Dishwasher, refrigerator may need repair. So anyway, just plan for that. It's bound to happen sooner or later with every house. And the property taxes. Understand that the property tax rate in the area and how it will affect your monthly payments. So if you decide to buy in a town with a higher tax rate, just know that your monthly payments are going to be more because of that. You're going to want to maybe get a title insurance. Consider purchasing the title insurance to protect against any legal claims on the property. Negotiation. Be prepared to negotiate the price and the terms of the sale. I see so many people, they don't even want to make an offer on a house because they think that that is the only price that they're going to determine that's what it's going to be. That's not always the case. Remember that. So just because a house is listed for, say, $275, if a buyer comes in and says, I only want to pay maybe $245 for this house, how can we do that? Well, sometimes you can put in an offer for, say, $245, and if the owner does not like that offer, they may come back with a counter offer. So you want to make sure that both of you can agree on something and you're both happy with the transaction. Contingencies. So you might have a contingency on an offer, and this offer is to protect yourself, such as financing, inspection, appraisal contingencies. So a contingency is just a what if. So say you purchase a house and you're all ready to move in, and then the inspector says, oh, we have a problem. So what we can do is we can write an addendum up and see where we can go if the house needs repair, whether the seller wants to pay for the repair or the buyer wants to pay for the repair. We can negotiate. That's another thing. That's what we do. So consider your school districts too. If you have a plan to have children, so research the quality of the local school districts. You're going to want to see and what they offer. Several school districts around my area do not offer the same thing. So you're going to want to look at that in particular if you are interested in the school systems, having kids, getting in the community. So make sure you decide that's one of your deciding factors. If your kids are going to go to public schools, get them in a good public school district. So future development. So investigate and planning future development in that area could affect the property values. We've recently, as you may know, have had a big, I guess they call it a mega site, come in locally, and that did unfortunately, we lost a lot of homes because of that, but it's making way for new industry to come in, and you never know. I mean, this was an area you never would have expected, but it happened. So just kind of be prepared for that. Zoning laws. Understand your local zoning laws and how they might impact your use on the property. So a lot of the places that we have in my community, you have to have a certain amount of acres to have livestock. And that kind of sometimes depends township by township. It's just another thing to consider. So first-time home buyers programs. Look into federal, state, and local first-time home buyers programs that might offer financial assistance and or benefits. It can't hurt to ask. You can't get anything if you don't ask. You can't get ahead. So, interest rates. So, stay informed about the current mortgage interest rates. They do vary from time to time. They've been, they were very low a couple years ago, and now they are spiking back up again, but they are not as high as they were a few years ago. So just remember that they're kind of mellowed out, I think, right now for the time being, but you never know. Guess we'll wait and see. So loan pre-qualifications. Get pre-qualified and get an idea of what you might be able to afford. We'll put you into a category. Say you can only afford say like a $50,000 to $100,000 home. Well, unfortunately, nowadays, they're not that readily available. But you get the situation. We can set you up with houses in that price range. And they do come up. They do come up. So, let's see. It talked about the homeowners association, knew the rules, environmental hazards. So be aware of the environmental hazards in the area, such as flood zones or radon. If you have a lot of factories in the area, just be aware of it. It's nothing to cause major concern, but just know that could be a factor. Your utilities. Find out the availability and the cost of the utilities in the area. And before you get into a home, so you should have all the utilities in your name on the closing date, because usually on the closing date, that is the time of possession. The sellers know that, the buyers know that, and they should have all of the cable, the water, the heat, the garbage, electric. Did I say that already? Anyway. They should have all of those utilities into their name when they take possession of the home. Know your property's history. Research the history of the property, including the past owners and any major repairs that might have been done to the home recently or in the past few years. It's always a great idea to know the more about the home that you are going to buy. So crime rates, investigate your local crime rates and, your safety strategies. It's just a thing that everybody has to be aware of nowadays. Your neighboring properties. So look at the condition and the value of the neighborhood and properties to gauge the area's overall quality. I suggest, if you're really interested in a house, go there in the morning, go there in the middle of the day, and go there in the evening. See what the atmosphere is like. It can't hurt. If you're planning on living there for a few years, you're going to want to know this. See if there's public transportation. Consider the availability and convenience of public transportation. That is a huge bonus. So employment opportunities. Check to see if there's local employment opportunities. If you're planning to change jobs or relocate, you're going to want to know what is in the area that it might be available. That is very important. So, if you are planning on changing careers, the walkability. Access walkability to the neighborhood if that's important to you. So if you walk a lot like I do, you're going to want to know the neighborhood. You're going to want to know some of your neighbors. So, it's a great thing to know your neighbors and your neighborhood and be aware of everything nowadays. Just the way it is. So internet and cable. It varies the availability, the quality of the internet and the cable services. For instance, where I live is very rural, but now we have a little box. That's our internet, and it works fantastic. Several different carriers have them now. They're not that expensive, and I cannot believe the great reception we get. So you're going to want to also seasonal considerations. Consider how the property of the neighborhood might change with the seasons. Are you going to have to shovel a sidewalk in the wintertime? Some cities require you to shovel your own sidewalk or at least have it cleaned off so people can walk. So local laws. Familiarize yourself with the local laws that might affect the property ownership. For instance, chickens. Some places can only have hens, which usually in the city limits you can only have hens, and it's usually only a certain amount. But check with that township to see about the rules on that. You can even have chickens in town. Yes, you can. Just as long as they're not roosters, because roosters, I used to have chickens, and roosters are very loud, and you can hear them from at least a mile away. Yeah, they are loud. So, and you're going to want to know your resale strategies. So, have a strategy for a resale if you plan to stay, or even if you plan to stay in the home full time. You want to make sure that your house is maintained well. It makes things a lot easier in case you have to sell in the future. Make sure that all the appliances are working well. It's clean. All the updates, there's no holes in the walls, the flooring, plumbing, electric, all that. So make sure that is updated in case you had to sell. Say you have to sell in a month. You never know. So, financing options. Explore different financing options. Including loans and grants and the government assistance. Most lenders will have all that readily available to you. And I do have several lenders that I work with that are fantastic. And they know how to get you, if you need help, you're not going to need much down payment if you don't have it. They can even get you into a program like that. So, it's great to ask. You can't, like I said, ask. So the renovation costs. So budget any renovation costs that might be necessary after the purchase. Say you have green shag carpet in a house and it was from the 1970s and you're not really into that anymore. Some people are, but you might not be. Some people are actually wanting the green shag carpet, which is fine. But if you want to renovate, just make sure you plan on any necessary renovations after the purchase that you have your heart set on. So you're going to a house, I want to knock this wall out. I want to knock that wall out. Plan for that. Property value and trends. So study historically property value trends in the area. Most all property value trends go up over time, unless something drastic has happened to that area in the last few years. Tax benefits. So understand tax benefits and the deductions that might be eligible for as a homeowner. At the end of the year, you can deduct a lot on your taxes because you are a homeowner. So let's see, what else can I say about, legal advice. Legal advice. Consider consulting a real estate attorney to review the documents and contracts if you think you may have a problem. Usually we go through all the contracts. Our title company goes through all the contracts. You will not need any legal advice because I'm not going to say always, but in most cases, our title company, our agents, our brokers, they have a lot of that settled. So your timeline. Have a realistic timeline of finding and purchasing a home. May take a little time, and that's okay. You're going to want to find the right home for you. Patience, be patient. So the process could take longer than expected. Just be aware of that. And yes, it does get frustrating after a while, but you'll find something that works for you. So the post-purchase costs. Plan on the post-purchase costs such as the moving expenses and the initial furnishing. So maybe you need new beds, maybe you need a new couch, maybe you need a new TV. You might not need a new TV, but you want a new TV. So, you just want to kind of plan for that. And anything else along the way, if you have any questions, your real estate agent is there for you. So, overall, first-time home buyers can navigate through the complex process and make informed decisions if you know what's going to happen. And it is our job as real estate agents as to help you do that. So I would love to be a real estate agent. My name is Brenda Bagwell and I'm from EXP. So if you have any questions, concerns, give me a shout and I'll see if I can help you out. Okay, till then, bye.